Yay. Mm. All right. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today at this financial statement auditing class, which is a simple class in our Master in Accounting program. My name is Michelle Wang. I'm an Associate Director in the Grad Admission Office here at Bentley University. So during today's session, we would like to give you a little taste of what an accounting course feels like at Bentley University so that you can really picture yourself as a student in our Master in Accounting program. So, oops, sorry, my bad. So today we really have the great pleasure of having Len Pape, who is the senior lecturer and the program director of our Master in Accounting program, to lead the lecture today. Len has about 45 years of professional experience in public accounting. So when Len talks about accounting, you know you are really you are getting the real deal. And before joining Bentley University, Len held several leadership positions at top accounting firms. So Len, would you like to say hi to our audience quickly?
Sure. Good afternoon or morning or evening to everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're trying to give you a taste of what your expectations would be in our program. And this is a course that I teach, and the content of which I've worked at for many years. And that's the type of experiential training that you'll get at Bentley University if you decide to come to our master's program. So, as I said, I've done this for many years, and I look forward to hopefully having you all in my class.
Thanks so much, Len.
Sure.
So before we kick off the sample class, I would like to quickly highlight a few factors that really makes our accounting program unique. And as you can see from this slide, there are four main areas that we believe that really set us apart from other programs in the region or in the country. So first off, accounting expertise. At Bentley University, we have a huge group of our faculty members who come from the industry. So they have been actually being out there in the accounting field, doing the work. And now they are bringing their expertise and professional experiences to into the classroom to share the knowledge with you. So instead of just hearing theory, you are actually learning how it's actually play out in the practice. Another thing we are going to talk a lot about is the applied real-world learning at Bentley University. In our Master in Accounting program, you will really be solving actual accounting challenges, not just flipping through dusty old case studies. We have a projects, competitions, plus we also have a really long-standing partnership with KPMG that keeps things fresh and relevant. And if you ever thought accounting was all about sitting quietly with a spreadsheet, that our program might surprise you. And then the third one is regarding career-ready skills. So big firms like PwC, Ernst & Young, Deloitte, and KPMG are not just looking for number crunchers. They really want people who can think strategically. They are looking for people who can really bring insights to the table. This is exactly what our program develops. So by the time that you graduate, you are not just another applicant for in the job market. You are the one of the employers they are actually looking forward to hire. And finally, something that really we are proud of is the analytics integration. So Bentley is the only school that currently in the New England area that partner with KPMG's data and analytics program. With that being said, which means that you will get hands-on exposure to the latest technologies, tools that are really shaping the accounting field, those tools that accounting professionals are using in the industry. So, but also we don't stop there. We also integrate advanced technologies, analytics into our curriculum, showing you how things like machine learning, automation are being applied into auditing, fraud detection, and financial reporting into your real world, into the real world setting. So you won't just hear about the future of accounting. You will practice it in the program. So with that being said, let's get the fun part started. So then I'm gonna hand things over to you to kick off today's session. All right, let me share my screen again so that we can all see the slides. Give me 1 sec. Okay, here you go.
Great. So the name of my class is a graduate class called AC 741. And what it is the title of it is Financial Statement Auditing, which many of you will be interested in because you'll be interested in going to many of the larger firms with which to study and perform auditing techniques, and auditing issuances of financial statement opinions. So in my class, part of the situation is to understand what expectations are. And many of the expectations that I have, and many of my colleagues have, is to have a very mature 50-50 relationship with our students. And by that I mean that all of the professors will go 50% of the way, with expectations that the students will meet us 50% closer, so that we're both involved in a very, unlike the undergraduate student professor relationship, this is more of a professional relationship that we intend to have in our classrooms. So it's not the professor on top and the student subservient to the professor. It's really a working business relationship in our classrooms. Okay, Michelle? So in our first class, chapter 1, just to give you an idea of what it's like, we have learning objectives, of course, and we talk a lot about information risk. We audit toward risk factors and how the financial statement process helps to reduce the risk of information risk, whether or not the client is giving us good information. And then we define and contrast financial statement auditing to attestation and other assurance services. We talk about what management says about their financial statements. We talk about professional skepticism and its key characteristic, which is a characteristic all auditors need. We talk about the organization of public accounting firms, and we talk about the business of auditing in governmental, internal auditing, operational auditing, and I teach, of course, external auditing of financial statements. And then we talk about, in the first chapter, the requirements of becoming a CPA and any other certifications that may interest you. Okay. So we have a very definitive methodology and definition of auditing. What is financial statement auditing? Well, it is a systematic process of obtaining financial evidence that the client says when they put them on their financial statement regarding assertions about economic actions, which are transactions like financial transactions, to ascertain the degree of correspondence or the connection between what they put on the financial statements and criteria we call GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles. And then we communicate those results to interested parties. And the interested parties are creditors or investors. And the results of our audit is the auditor's report. The criteria that we use is generally accepted accounting principles, and the assertions are the financial statements that management uses. So this is kind of our mantra right there. We talk about what management says, how we audit, what are the rules of the road, which is GAAP, and then what is our goal at the end? It's to produce an opinion letter called an auditor's report that tells the reader or the investor that what they have seen in the financial statements are materially correct. Okay, Michelle. So here's the overview of financial statement auditors. You'll see that the top 4 boxes are the 4 financial statements that management produces. The independent auditor uses their knowledge and experience. They confirm, they inspect, we look at all the documents and make sure that the management of the company that we're auditing produce the financial statements under generally accepted accounting principles, or if it's an international company, under IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standards. Then after we do all that testing and reviewing and we come up with what our conclusions are, we issue a report. And the report's called the audit report, or an audit opinion, as to the correctness, materially speaking, of the financial statements that are produced by management. So there's a whole set of rules that we abide by to be auditors. The management has to abide by the rules of GAAP, and we abide by the rules of what's called generally accepted auditing standards. So we both have 2 sets of rules that we perform by, and then we issue an opinion letter on management's financial statements. Okay. So back in 2002, 23 years ago, there were so many frauds and mismanagement and bad things happening, similar to the Enron debacle or Bernie Madoff walking away with so much of his clients' money, that Congress came up with a law called Sarbanes-Oxley. And Sarbanes-Oxley put some onus on management for their financial reporting. In the past, they had very little responsibility on the financial reporting, but they put a lot more onus on the CEO and CFO, and they have to sign a document under pains and penalties of perjury that in fact they certify to those financial statements that they've read them properly, they're not aware of any fraud or misleading statements, and they believe that these financial statements are an accurate picture of their company, which is what the investors wanted to see. And in the past, management had very little responsibilities in that respect, but it put an awful lot more work on the auditors as well. And we go over what auditors' responsibilities are in my course, as well as what management's responsibilities are for producing those financial statements. So it's a very interesting class, and we bring in the laws of the land along with Congress, along with management's responsibilities and our responsibilities to protect the public who are investing in these companies that are publicly held. Okay. So we have a relationship between auditing, attestation, and assurance. And assurance is the big global sort of work that auditors might do in a general sense. And then a little bit more condensed would be attestation engagements, which is things where you might opine on certain parts of a financial statement, but not the financial statements taken as a whole. But the audit engagement is what we focus in on, and that's taking all of the financial transactions and how they interact with each other in order to produce a quality set of financial statements, and then therefore an opinion on those financial statements that they are reasonable for you to invest in if you so choose. And it's a much more condensed and spirited group of rules that we abide by in audit engagements. But it includes the balance sheet, the income statement, the statement of cash flows, and the statement of stockholders' equity. So it's very interesting that you understand accounting in order to be a good auditor, and then you understand risk and how management proceeds in their work. Okay. So a big part of our job as being auditors is every morning you have to wake up when you're an auditor and you have to put on your skepticism hat. You have to trust your clients, but you do have to verify what they say. So professional skepticism is a thread that carries throughout the auditor's life in their relationship with the client. So what it does is it refers to the auditor's questioning mindset towards financial representations that management makes on their financial statements, and then the evidence that we have to gather to actually audit those statements that they make. We call the statements representations that they make, and we verify them with audit evidence. So asking a question alone is never enough. Inquiry is never enough. So the auditor must obtain from outside sources sufficient and appropriate corroborative evidence that says, yeah, this assertion that the client made is materially correct. So anything that's an unusual, oh, not yet, Michelle. Anything that's an unusual trend, we investigate. Documents are checked for authenticity. We ask questions, we get answers, then we audit those answers. And of course, there's always a bit of a conflict that arises between the auditor and the client because the client wants their company to be in the best light possible, and the auditor wants the client to be correct. So we just want the portrayal to be fair and accurate. Okay, Michelle? So many times we teach our students in class about the professional judgment process, how to make a judgment about data, information, what people say, how they present it. And many times there are dilemmas that you face when you're in a professional setting. So I teach how to sort of make a judgment in a professional setting. First, you clarify the issue and the objectives. We talk about the alternatives that one may have. This isn't just about accounting now, it's about professional business. Then we gather all the relevant evidence to make sure that what the customer has said or what the dilemma is facing, we have all the evidence to see what outcomes it may have. Then we reach a conclusion in the audit room with our fellow professionals. And then we clearly document it and carefully document the rationale for the judgment that we actually reached. So in auditing, there's a very much a gray area in the decisions that you make on determining what a client said and is it reasonable. So it's a more of an art than a science, and we use this professional judgment process in order to move forward. Okay. So many times as this new law that was 23 years ago came about, there were certain services the public accounting firms couldn't do in conjunction with doing an audit. So the government, Congress wanted auditors to be much more independent in their thinking, and many times other services that accounting firms provide, mostly consulting, would get in the way of that judgment. And that's what happened at Arthur Andersen when they went down, was they were doing work to the tune of about $25 million for Enron, but they were also doing the audit. So that extra work clouded their thinking and their independence, and therefore the government came along and said, okay, you can do the audit, but there are certain things that you can't do. One of them was bookkeeping and related services. One of them was putting in financial information systems or appraising or valuation services, actuarial, internal auditing, human resources. You can't do investment broker dealer services, and they won't let you act as a legal advocate or an expert testifying. So you can do some tax services, but it has to be disclosed on a document for these public companies. But what this law did is it prohibited a lot of services that muddy the waters when you're trying to be an independent voice on how the financial statements would come out, and doing other services really muddied the waters in that respect. Okay. So here's some other engagements and professionals that you may want to become. You could be an internal auditor, which is working for a large company in their internal auditing department. You could be a governmental auditor, which looks at contractors that the government hires to make sure that what they're paying for is actually what they got. And then there are regulatory auditors of the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, state tax authorities, IRS, that type of a regulatory auditor that makes sure that certain companies abide by the laws of the United States. Okay. And then in the first chapter of when we get together in my class, we talk about the CPA exam. and the fact that there were huge changes that came into the exam back a few years ago. But basically, auditing and attestation are what I did for many years and what I teach, but that's a whole section. And then financial reporting is big, and regulation is business law, and business environment and concepts is the fourth section. You have multiple choice questions, simulations, and ways to test your measured skills that you need to have in practice to make sure that you're properly qualified. Okay, Michelle. So here's just some of the slides that we would use about Enron and having independence relative to the client. Okay. And Enron back in 2000 was a huge company, Fortune 500 company with 55 billion in assets, 100 billion in revenue, and they filed for bankruptcy the next year. How did that happen? And we talk about that in our auditing class. Okay. So Arthur Andersen had fees paid from Enron to Andersen of, $50 million in revenues. And a lot of the work that Andersen performed was consulting, internal auditing, and other types of audit work for Enron. And they also did their independent financial statement audit, which is where the conflict came in. They did a lot of work on the outside and then went and audited their own work, which is somewhat of or actually a very big conflict of interest. And Enron was one of Andersen's largest clients. Okay. So the ties were too close between Enron and Andersen. And at the end of the day, Enron hired 86 Andersen auditors over the years that were still there. So there was a very blurred line between independents at Andersen and workers at Enron. They had 100 managers working on in Enron's headquarters. They went on trips together. They went on vacations together. They played on the softball teams together. So there was no independence relative to Andersen from Enron, which is what the investing public really wants to see. Okay. And so therefore Congress passed a bill in July of 2002 that directly addressed the threats to independence that existed at public companies and the public accounting companies that audited them, like Enron and Arthur Andersen. Okay. What happened? A lot of these people went to jail. Arthur Andersen was indicted because they had obstructed justice. They destroyed evidence, and they couldn't audit public companies for 5 years, which led to their demise. And the CEO was sentenced to 24 years in prison. Okay. So that's kind of a little bit of a taste of what the classes are like. Every class I usually give a quiz and I ask about what did you read and what's the current environment in current events. That type of thing is how our classes run, and they're very communicative and conversational, so that it's very much a mature learning environment where you can do as much as you want to do, or you can do as little as you want to do, but it's up to you. And I think the way we guide you is getting you ready to pass the CPA exam, as well as any other credentialing that may interest you, CME or internal auditor exam. But basically, we're really preparing you for your first day of work at a firm or a company with the Bentley degree behind you. So hopefully you enjoyed that short presentation. And if you have any questions about the sample class, I'd be glad to take them. If now's the time, Michelle, is that okay?
Yeah, thanks so much, Len. So I'm gonna stop sharing and then see if there's any questions for you. So if you have any questions for Len or for myself, feel free to use the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen to send us those questions. We will be happy to address them for you. And then I'm also gonna, give me 1 second. Okay.
So I have Diane, Kyle, and Rosemary on.
Yeah, we have a couple of attendees here with us today. So while you are thinking about some questions to ask to us, I'm also gonna share just to talk about maybe the next steps for you, which is the application process. So that is the process that gets you from a prospective student to officially a student sitting in Lynn's class. Okay. So at Bentley University, we utilize a really straightforward, but a really holistic review process to review each application for the program. As you can see from the screen, there are a couple of documentations or information that we will need to see from your application. The first one, it will be your resume. So we will need a copy of your current resume. And also, if you have a LinkedIn profile, you definitely want to include the link in your application as well. And just so that we have the most up-to-date information about your professional background. And so for folks who do not have a LinkedIn profile yet, I will strongly encourage you to consider making one, as it's a very important platform for professional network where people can connect for jobs, for professional development opportunities. And also it's really widely used in the US job market. Employers and recruiters often use it to recruit their employees. And also our career development office also utilizes this as a tool in helping our students to find those opportunities out there in the job market. And then make sure that your LinkedIn profile matches with your resume. And next, we would love to see a one letter of recommendation. So a very frequently asked question I got about this requirement is that should it be an academic recommendation or professional recommendation? The answer is either one works. So if you're working, I probably would suggest asking your current or former supervisor for the letter. If you're currently in school, then you can go with a professor who knows you well and that can speak to your performance in class, your skills, and your intellectual curiosity. So we would love to see at least one recommendation letter. But if you have more than one to be submitted, we definitely love to see them as well. The next one we will talk about is the application essay. So we require one application essay within your application. This is really your chance to shine. The essay can help the admission committee to get a deeper understanding of your program motivation, your career aspiration, your goals, and how the program, our accounting program, can really fit into that journey. It also shows us if you have done your research about Bentley University and our accounting program or not. There are different essay prompts for you to choose from when you go to the application itself. And you are more than welcome to choose which one that you would like to address. There's also a statement of purpose, which give you more freedom to discuss things like why you are looking to apply to Bentley University right now, your passion for accounting, and you can also use this opportunity to tell a personal story, something that we cannot tell really from your transcript or a resume. One important note regarding the essay and the statement of purpose is that please do not use any AI tools to write the essay. Although we will be teaching you some of the tools, the AI tools in the curriculum, but we don't want to see that component to be added in your application essay. We have read thousands of application essay each year, and it's really easy to spot. So just be mindful. If you're also coding any, like using any quote, you make sure that you also list those references when you come to the essay component. The next one is regarding the test score. So we accept GRE or GMAT test score, but this requirement is optional. So if you by any chance have a valid test score or planning to take the test, definitely feel free to submit a test score within your application. However, if you're unsure whether submitting the test score will help boost your application, you can definitely schedule an admission consultation with us. We can discuss your background, your application, and provide some honest feedback to see if the test score can be really helpful in your application process. So usually the test score we are looking at for the GRE, we typically looking for around 318 with 150 in the quant section. For the GMAT, usually the lowest score we are looking at is around 550. Again, it's the lowest score that we're usually looking at. And the next one, we will talk about the English language test requirement. So for students who come from countries where English is not the only primary language used, you can take a test, English language test to demonstrate your English proficiency. So we accept TOEFL with a score of 100 or higher, IELTS 7.0 or higher, Duolingo 130 or higher, and Pearson 61 or higher. And also in addition, if your prior degree, your bachelor degree or master degree was taught fully in English, you can also use an English letter issued by your school to request a waiver for this requirement. The final requirement is regarding your transcript. If you're attending a school in the US, you can send us your unofficial transcript from the schools that you attended during your academic journey within your application. If you get accepted and then later on decide to enroll, then you can share with us your final official transcript before you start the program. For folks who attended the university outside of US and the school doesn't really follow the US education system, we will need a copy of your transcript as well as a course-by-course international transcript evaluation. So this evaluation can be obtained from some companies that we work with. So there are a couple recognized evaluation agency that we accept the evaluation from, and you can see their contact information from our website. And the evaluation really shows how your degree is equivalent to a degree in the US. And we also want to make sure that your degree is equivalent to a 4-year degree US, like a bachelor degree in the US. So that's the criteria we're usually looking for to move your application forward. And also please note the evaluation sometimes may take some time for the evaluation company to complete the evaluation for you, especially during those peak admission seasons where many schools reach out to them to request the evaluation. So make sure that you plan ahead and request your evaluation early in the process. Don't wait for the last minute to request that. It may take a really long time and it will impact your application processing time. So next, I would like to talk about a little bit about financing your education. What are the financial resources out there available for you? So at Bentley University, we offer merit scholarship to all admitted students. And these are the type of awards that based on your competitiveness within the application pool for each intake, and also the value you can potentially bring into the accounting program. So we will review your entire application, including everything you submitted within the application that's related to your academic background, your professional background, your overall value to be added to the program. As you can see from the screen, majority, about 85% of our students receive some kind of merit scholarship. And again, this is really purely based on the strength of your application. It's not tied to the financial need request. It's not tied to your income background. So meaning that the stronger your application is, the greater chance for you to get a higher amount of scholarship. Another type of scholarship that's available for our students for the fall intake will be the graduate assistantship. So for full-time students who are applying for the fall intake, Bentley also offer a number of graduate assistantship positions, which are guaranteed on-campus jobs. So there are 1-year appointment in research, academic and administrative roles, and students can, if you get a job, you can work up to 15 hours per week during the semester, during the fall and spring semester. During other semesters, you are also welcome to look for other on-campus jobs as well. With that being said, there are tons of other on-campus jobs available out there. If you receive an on-campus job, you can work usually up to 20 hours per week during the fall and spring semester, and you can potentially work up to 40 hours during the winter and the summer semester. And then also you will get a compensation to offset partially of the graduate school cost. And beyond Bentley, there are also different kinds of external funding resources that you can explore, such as tuition reimbursement. Some company offer this benefit as the employee benefit to their employee. So definitely check with your company on that. There might be something available for you. There are also grants, loan option available out there offered by different organizations, government agencies, and foundations. Make sure that you do your research thoroughly. For domestic applicants, domestic student, you can also apply for the need-based financial aid. This can be additional funding opportunity provided by the federal government that you can use towards your graduate school. So next, finally, we would like to talk about the application deadline, very important thing that you need to keep in mind. The accounting application for spring 2026 and fall 2026 are now open. You should be able to see the links on our official website and then start application from there. For spring 2026, the semester usually starts in late January. The priority deadline for that particular semester will be October 1st, and standard deadline will be December 11th this year. For fall 2026, the term will start on August 31st next year. That will be the first day of class. We do have different rounds of deadlines available. We have the priority round, which is November 1st, priority round 2, December 14th, and then we have regular decision, which is February 1st next year. For international applicants, that the final deadline for you to apply will be the June 1st. And for domestic student and civil transfer students, the final deadline for you will be August 1st. But my suggestion is never wait until the last minute to submit the application, because you might already late in the application cycle. And also, we usually tend to offer better scholarship package to students who apply early in the application cycle. So we may run up the scholarship opportunity at that point when you submit your application. But of course, if you're unsure about which deadline is the best option for you, you may need some time or have some questions, concern about your application, you can always reach out to us and discuss your background, discuss your case with us. With that being said, there are different options for you to connect with us. I would like to point out that the second one from the left, which is the QR code that you can utilize to set up a admission consultation with us, so that you can meet with us individually and discuss your questions, ask any question that you may have during the process. Or if you want to also reach out to Lynn, we'll also be happy to connect you with Lynn directly. We also have different social media platforms out there. We also upload a lot of information resources to those social media platforms. So make sure that you follow us on those platforms. With that being said, I'm gonna switch to the Q&A session to see if there's any questions for both Lynn and myself. Okay, I see there's one question for Lynn, actually. How does the program integrate the technologies such as AI or advanced data tools into the accounting coursework?
Well, that's a great question. We, as you know, we are very cutting edge relative to the programs and the tools that you'll be using, so that you'll be ready to go the minute you walk into whatever employer you choose. But AI is a big part of our teaching. Data analytics is a big part of our teaching. And in the MSA, we thread data analytics and AI tools throughout every course. For instance, in my auditing class, we have a presentation and a project that is has been developed and is administered by KPMG. We have a senior and a manager that come in from KPMG. They administer the test and the data set and the AI that they have proprietarily in their company. And we teach to how AI works in the selection process and then the data movement to make sure they have all of the auditors have all of the data that they need to make a decision. So we're very cutting edge. We speak to the industry every 6 months to make sure that the skill sets that they want in their employees are the things that we teach our students. So we're very much in touch with technology, AI, and advanced data tools of Python, R, data management, and of course, models that are used to make M&A decisions, that type of thing are very much up front.
Mhm. Awesome. Thanks so much, Len. And there's another question for Lynn is regarding there are some students out there who do not really have the traditional accounting background from their prior education. For those type of students, how our program can support their transition?
Well, we teach a lot about presentations, communication, writing skills in our classes. We want you to be a very strong member of either the auditing team, the advisory team, the financial planning and administrative team in industry, so that when you leave here, you'll be hitting the ground running. So some of that transitional type thing, we like students that come in here with a history, sociology background, liberal arts, and you'll take some prerequisite courses maybe during the summer before you start to get yourself comfortable, and you'll be ready to go for your first class with the proper background of possibly first and second year accounting to get ready for intermediate, and maybe statistics would be one that you'd need to get in our program, or take online with another university or online program. So we welcome students without an accounting background, but really relish what they bring and how to learn, liberal arts backgrounds and that type of thing. So we like people with all types of backgrounds.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Len. Yeah, just to echo on what Len mentioned. Yeah, the program is set up with the structure where we have those pre-programmed foundation courses to ensure that you can build up solid foundation to advance to higher level of accounting courses. In addition, we also do have a kind of like a tutoring center on campus, which is called Lab for Economics, Accounting, and Finance. So students, if you have any have questions or trouble with the handling a assignment or project, you can always go to the center to the lab tutoring center to get some help from the tutors in that lab. They can help you with those challenges, so that's one resource that you can definitely utilize. And then also our faculty member are definitely another good resource for you to utilize. All the professors are always willing to making that actual effort to support you throughout the program, making sure that you have all the needs, support services that you need to be successful in the program. I see there's one more question for Lynn. How does the program help students develop soft skills to advance in leadership roles?
Well, as I alluded to at the last question, we are very attuned to students needing communication skills when they leave here. So we just don't teach hard skills of accounting and auditing and taxation and consulting. We also teach how to speak publicly. In my class, I call on every student every day. I expect you to be on the edge of your seat and be ready to communicate what you have learned or what you've read to maybe a non-financial person. So soft skills are very important on how to make a presentation with a very complex idea behind it, or to write properly, to write a memo, a business memo properly, um, and to collaborate with your fellow students, which is how business works. People collaborate with people of their own ilk or people from other business lines or industries. And we teach that very intentionally in our program. And we think that's part of you learning what you need to learn in order to become an excellent professional outside in the business world. So we're very tuned with soft skills to help you advance your leadership role. You know, just being an accountant, with all due respect to me being just an accountant, one of the skills that I had was an ability to develop relationships, to speak in public, to not be afraid to, to present to large groups of people as well. And that's what we teach.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks so much, Len. I think there's just one more question regarding how would you say, Len, beyond the how does the program really weave in areas like data analytics, taxation, or advisory services into the curriculum?
Yeah, well, we weave data analytics and analysis throughout every course. So these are the tools that industry has required us to arm our students with and skills to bring to their clients. And we listen to our industry leaders in the Boston, New York, and Washington area, and we change our curriculum in order to bring about data analytics, Python, R, Alteryx, Tableau, IDEA, MindBridge, Data Snipper, all of the analytics tools that we use, industry uses. And you are way ahead of your compatriots when you get an internship from Bentley University coming out of our master's program than others from other programs, believe me. I've been asked about that for many years, and industry is very much appreciative of what we teach our students, technology-wise, AI-wise, and data analytics-wise.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think that's all the question I see in the chat box. But like I said, if you have any further question for Len and myself, do not hesitate to reach out. We are always willing to be supportive during your the process where you're looking for the right fit for the graduate program. Feel free to reach out. And once again, I want to thank Len for your valuable time to
Sure.
give us a really informative lecture. And for the folks who join us today, really appreciate your time as well. And we're definitely looking forward to connecting with you, continue the conversation from here. Okay, thanks so much. Have a good one.
Thank you.